Is this the biggest fight in boxing history? The clash between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez is quickly shaping up to be one of the most highly anticipated showdowns in the sport. With contrasting styles, personalities, and legacies on the line, this battle could define an entire era of boxing. But who holds the edge? Just a day after Terence Crawford linked up with Floyd Mayweather for an intense training session, Canelo Alvarez decided he wasn't going to be left out of the narrative. He released new training footage, instantly igniting conversations across the boxing world. Fans and analysts alike dissected every detail, some praising Canelo's power, others questioning Crawford's ability to handle the size difference. Crawford, however, silenced any doubters with a simple yet powerful message: fight for both of us. Of course, I beat him. There isn't any doubt in my mind that I won't beat anybody that I face. Crawford's confidence is unshakable. Coming off his dominant win over Errol Spence Jr., which solidified his status as the undisputed welterweight champion, he now faces a new challenge, jumping 2 weight classes to take on one of the biggest names in boxing history. The question remains: can he handle the immense power and experience of Canelo Alvarez? Canelo, the face of Mexican boxing, has spent years proving his dominance across multiple weight divisions. Known for his brutal power and adaptability, he has taken down some of the sport's best, including Gennady Golovkin, Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders, and Jermell Charlo. Stepping into the ring against a naturally bigger and stronger opponent like Canelo will be unlike any fight Crawford has faced before. Despite the massive challenge, Crawford remains unfazed. Great fighters test themselves, no matter what the odds, he said. I've faced tough opponents before, but Canelo is one of the greatest. This is my chance to prove I belong at the top. While size and power favor Canelo, Crawford's advantages lie in his technical brilliance, speed, and ability to adapt. His reflexes and fight IQ are unmatched, and he has repeatedly demonstrated the ability to break down opponents with calculated precision. If he can effectively neutralize Canelo's power and dictate the pace, he has a real shot at pulling off a historic victory. The unpredictability of this fight makes it one of the most thrilling matchups in recent memory. Fans and experts have weighed in, debating whether Crawford's skill can overcome Canelo's sheer force. Former 4-division title holder Mikey Garcia has been vocal in his skepticism, expressing concerns over the weight disparity. "They're too many weight classes apart," Garcia said. "Crawford just moved up to 154 and already had some struggles there. Now jumping to 168, that's a huge leap." Garcia recently met with Crawford at the World Boxing Council convention in Hamburg, Germany, where he acknowledged Crawford's incredible achievements. "Crawford is one of the best fighters I've ever seen. He doesn't always get the recognition he deserves because of boxing politics, but he is a great fighter and has proven it multiple times," Garcia admitted. However, Garcia remains skeptical about the weight factor. "Where do you plan on fighting? 164, 165, or 166?" Canelo isn't coming down to 160, maybe 166 max if he accepts. That's a major size advantage for Canelo. Despite Garcia's concerns, Crawford remains focused. He knows this fight will be his biggest test, but he thrives on challenges. His adaptability, speed, and defensive mastery will be his key weapons. If he can execute a flawless game plan and avoid Canelo's devastating punches, he could shock the world. Boxing fans are split. Some believe Crawford's technical prowess will be enough to outmaneuver the larger Canelo. Others argue that no matter how skilled Crawford is, the power difference will be too much to overcome. One thing is for certain: this fight will be an electrifying event that will go down in history. Both fighters have cemented their legacies in the sport, but this bout will add another defining chapter to their careers. Whether it's Crawford's speed and intelligence or Canelo's power and experience that prevails, fans will witness a battle for the ages. The road to this fight has just begun, and as the anticipation builds, so does the debate. Will Crawford's skill be enough to conquer Canelo's raw strength, or will the Mexican champion once again prove why he is one of the greatest of all time? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure: when these two step into the ring, the world will be watching. Is size truly the deciding factor in boxing, or can skill bridge the gap? This question has become the center of the growing debate surrounding a potential fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Many boxing analysts, fans, and even former fighters have weighed in on the matter, with opinions split between those who see Crawford as a supreme technician and those who believe Canelo's natural size and power will be too much to overcome. Mikey Garcia, a former four-division champion, is among those who believe size will determine the outcome. Canelo wins that fight based on just the size and the power, Garcia stated. Now, skills-wise, I think Crawford is a better skilled fighter, but the difference in size will be the deciding factor, and that's why I'm not even a fan of that fight. Garcia continued, emphasizing that Crawford, now 37, has already achieved greatness across four weight divisions between 135 and 154 pounds. While acknowledging the financial appeal of a fight with Canelo, Garcia urged both fighters to seek different challenges. If Canelo wants to challenge himself, he should move up and fight someone like Artur Beterbiev or Dmitry Bivol again, Garcia said. And for Crawford, he doesn't need to fight Canelo, he can fight other top guys at 154. Despite these concerns, as the fight gains traction, more boxing professionals are voicing their reservations. They see it as an unnecessary risk for Crawford, who has never faced an opponent of Canelo's size and stature. However, Crawford remains undeterred, insisting that he is ready to give it everything and solidify his legacy as one of boxing's all-time greats. For fans, the fight's intrigue lies in the contrast between skill and size. Does Crawford's elite technical ability compensate for the sheer physicality that Canelo brings to the ring? If they both make weight, does that eliminate the size difference, or will Canelo's natural advantages still prove decisive? Heavyweight champion Tyson Fury recently weighed in on the debate. Speaking to TNT Sports Boxing, Fury highlighted the difficulty of the weight jump for Crawford. If they fought years ago at a lower weight, Crawford could have had a better chance. But at super middleweight, that's Canelo's domain, Fury said. This fight would probably happen at 168 pounds, and if that's the case, I'd pick Canelo. If it were at 140, then I'd pick Crawford. But moving from 147 to 168 is a huge leap. Maybe they'll negotiate something around 160 or 165, but it's still a tough ask. Canelo has made it clear that he has no intention of cutting weight. This aligns with Crawford's goal of testing himself to the absolute limit by stepping up to 168 pounds, 14 pounds more than his last fight. Whether or not the fight can be finalized remains uncertain. Crawford is eager to make it happen, but Canelo has indicated that he will only take the fight for the right price. The significant weight gap has fueled further debate within the boxing community, with even Mike Tyson expressing concerns. Appearing on the Come and Talk to Me podcast, Tyson shared his reservations. "I don't like that fight," Tyson said. "Too much weight for Crawford. He had a tough fight against his last opponent, Israel Madrimov, because the guy was big and awkward. That's the kind of fight he shouldn't have taken, let alone stepping up to face Canelo." Tyson's concerns are valid. Crawford's fight with Madrimov was one of the toughest of his career, despite Madrimov being slightly taller but still significantly smaller than Canelo. Crawford's wiry frame, which has served him well at lower weight classes, could work against him against a naturally heavier opponent. Nonetheless, Crawford remains confident in his ability to handle the transition. He believes the key to moving up successfully is doing so at the right time and in a way that keeps him healthy. The key is to know when it's the right time for your body to move up the healthy way, Crawford told Yahoo Sports. I moved up in weight because I wanted to fight the best guy in the division. No amount of outside opinions can override the ambition of a dedicated professional fighter, and Crawford seems determined to challenge himself against the best. A victory over Canelo, despite the weight difference, would elevate him to legendary status. His trainer, Brian McIntyre, recently revealed that talks are already underway to ensure the fight aligns with Canelo Alvarez's preferred fighting seasons, the Cinco de Mayo weekend or Mexican Independence Day in September. When you look at this fight, the question is, can Crawford's skill level compensate for the weight difference? McIntyre said. If you believe in his talent, you can't just rule him out because of size. Crawford has never shied away from challenges, and his move through multiple weight classes proves his willingness to push his limits. However, fighting Canelo at 168 pounds is a completely different challenge. It's not just about weight, it's about the muscle mass, power, and physical durability that naturally come with being a bigger fighter. While Crawford may have the edge in skill, Canelo's experience against high-caliber opposition at heavier weights cannot be ignored. Canelo has already faced and defeated elite super middleweights, including Gennady Golovkin, Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith, Jermall Charlo, and Jamie Munguia. He has unified the division and demonstrated an ability to adapt to various styles. His physical strength and counterpunching skills make him a formidable opponent, regardless of who stands in front of him. Mikey Garcia raised another crucial point regarding the weight class discrepancy. Where does Crawford plan on fighting? 164, 165, 166. Canelo isn't coming down to 160, and he definitely isn't making 154, Garcia stated. If it's at 168, that's a huge jump for Crawford. Even with these concerns, Crawford remains focused on making history. He sees the fight not just as a challenge but as a career-defining opportunity. I want to prove I belong at the top, he said. I've faced tough opponents before, but Canelo is one of the greatest. This is my chance to show the world what I can do. The fight remains in negotiation, but if finalized, it promises to be one of the biggest events in boxing history. The contrast in styles, the weight disparity, and the high stakes make it an incredibly intriguing showdown. Whether Crawford's technical brilliance can neutralize Canelo's power, or whether size will ultimately prevail, is a question that only Fight Night can answer. The boxing world is buzzing with discussions about a potential showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Efforts are already underway to make the fight a reality, ensuring both fighters secure substantial purses while delivering an electrifying matchup for fans worldwide. Brian McIntyre, Crawford's longtime trainer, is among those working behind the scenes to bring the fight to fruition. McIntyre, widely known as B-Mac, has played a crucial role in guiding Crawford to world titles across 4 weight divisions. Now, he is setting his sights on an even bigger challenge, preparing his protégé to take on the formidable Canelo Alvarez. Despite being occupied with other commitments, such as Steven Nelson's fight against Diego Pacho at the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas and Keyshawn Davis' upcoming bout against Denis Berinchyk on Valentine's Day, McIntyre remains laser-focused on making the Crawford vs. Canelo fight a reality. Although the bout remains unconfirmed, insiders suggest that September could be the likely time frame for the clash. Speculation and rumors have been swirling, with one of the most hotly debated topics being whether a rehydration clause will be included in the fight contract. A rehydration clause is a contractual stipulation that limits how much a fighter can weigh after the official weigh-in, preventing them from gaining too much size before fight night. Concerns regarding weight disparity stem from the fact that before moving up to 154 pounds, Crawford competed at much lighter weights, while Alvarez has been comfortably fighting at 168 pounds for years. However, McIntyre has dismissed any concern over rehydration clauses, making it clear that he and Crawford are not interested in such restrictions. During an interview with Ring Magazine's Ricky Sunfall, McIntyre emphatically stated that weight gain after the weigh-in is entirely the opponent's problem, not Crawford's. He brushed off any speculation about requesting a clause, saying, "I don't give a damn about that. If he gets too big and sluggish, that's on him. It's not my issue." When pressed further on whether Crawford could still win without a rehydration clause, McIntyre expressed absolute confidence in his fighter. "Crawford makes everyone look normal. I don't think there's anyone else in boxing you could ask who would say otherwise," McIntyre stated. He went on to challenge the notion that weight should be a significant factor, arguing that once a fighter accepts a bout, they should simply step into the ring and fight without additional stipulations. This stance stands in stark contrast to how some recent fights have been arranged. The rehydration clause became a major point of discussion after Ryan Garcia's fight against Gervonta Davis, where Garcia was limited in how much weight he could put on after the official weigh-in. Given the controversy surrounding that fight, it's no surprise that the topic has resurfaced in discussions about Canelo versus Crawford. However, McIntyre remains firm there will be no such clause in this bout. Adding fuel to the fire, ESPN boxing insider Mike Coppinger recently reported that while no official contracts have been signed, negotiations for the fight are progressing. If finalized, the fight is expected to take place at 168 pounds during the Mexican Independence Day weekend in September. Crucially, it would not include a rehydration clause, reinforcing Crawford's willingness to challenge himself against a naturally larger opponent. For Crawford, this fight represents the ultimate test of his abilities. Having dominated at 135, 140, and 147 pounds, his recent move to 154 pounds was already a significant jump. Now, targeting a fight at 168 pounds is an unprecedented leap, further solidifying his ambition to be recognized as one of the greatest fighters of his generation. Canelo Alvarez, meanwhile, remains one of boxing's biggest stars, with only 2 career losses, one to Floyd Mayweather in 2013 and another to Dimitri Bivol in 2022. His loss to Bivol was particularly instructive, as it exposed potential weaknesses in Canelo's ability to handle skilled, technical fighters who can dictate pace and movement. McIntyre has taken note of this and believes that Crawford's skill set makes him a legitimate threat. "If the fight ever happens, that's the fight I would go back and watch Canelo versus Bivol," McIntyre explained on the Luke Thomas YouTube channel. "It's real simple. You just have to understand boxing to see that Crawford can get in there and do what he needs to do." However, not everyone shares McIntyre's optimism. Many boxing analysts and former champions have voiced concerns about the fight, arguing that the size difference is simply too great for Crawford to overcome. Tyson Fury, for example, recently weighed in on the matchup, stating that weight will be the deciding factor. "If they fought at 140, I'd pick Crawford. If they fight at 168, I'm going with Canelo," Fury said in an interview. "It's just too much weight for Crawford. Moving up that much in a short time is tough, and Canelo is naturally the bigger, stronger fighter." Mike Tyson echoed similar sentiments, questioning whether Crawford's body could handle the jump in weight without compromising his speed and endurance. Crawford had a close fight with his last opponent, and that guy wasn't even on Canelo's level, Tyson noted on his Come and Talk to Me podcast. "Moving up in weight isn't just about skill, it's about how your body reacts. It's a big risk. Despite these warnings, Crawford remains determined. His confidence in his abilities has been unwavering throughout his career, and he has always sought out the toughest challenges available. "I moved up in weight because I wanted to fight the best," Crawford told Yahoo Sports. "That's always been my mindset, and it's not going to change now." Whether or not the fight ultimately happens remains to be seen. While Crawford is eager to take the challenge, Canelo has been more reserved, suggesting he would only take the fight if the financial incentives were right. "For the right price, I'll fight anyone," Canelo admitted when asked about the matchup. As negotiations continue, boxing fans are left to wonder, can skill truly overcome size? Will Crawford's technical prowess and ring IQ be enough to neutralize Canelo's power and physicality, or will the weight disparity prove too great for Crawford to overcome? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: if this fight happens, it will be one of the most intriguing and highly anticipated matchups in recent boxing history. Both fighters have carved out legacies as some of the best of their era, and a head-to-head battle would be a monumental event in the sport. As the boxing world waits for official confirmation, speculation and debate will continue. But if Crawford and Canelo do step into the ring, fans will be treated to a clash of styles, skills and heart that could define a generation. For now, the ball is in the promoter's court. September is fast approaching, and the world is watching. Will this fight become reality, or will it remain a dream matchup that never materializes? The coming months will provide the answer. The possibility of a rematch between Floyd Mayweather and Canelo Alvarez has stirred speculation, but it is Terence Crawford whose name remains high on the short list of potential opponents for the Mexican superstar. After extensive media coverage regarding this potential clash, Crawford has consistently expressed his willingness to step up 2 weight classes to test himself against Canelo, determined to prove his superiority in the ring. Despite being well aware of the size disparity, Crawford is confident in his technical abilities and believes he can neutralize the advantages Canelo holds. However, some boxing analysts remain skeptical about his capacity to compete effectively at super middleweight. Their doubts stem from his recent performance, a decision victory over Israel Madrimov at super welterweight that many considered less dominant than expected. Dedicated fans of the sport, however, have faith in Crawford's skills, much like they predicted his past successes. Regardless of the concerns surrounding weight differences, the potential bout between Canelo and Crawford has captivated the boxing world. The combination of power, speed, and ring intelligence displayed by both fighters makes this matchup an intriguing spectacle. Canelo Alvarez has followed a consistent schedule of fighting twice a year, traditionally in May and September, with the latter coinciding with Mexico's Independence Day celebrations. Since 2022, he has maintained this pattern, and expectations are that he will continue doing so. This raises significant interest in who his next opponent will be. With David Benavidez, the WBC's mandatory challenger at 168 pounds, still struggling to secure a fight against Alvarez, Terence Crawford has emerged as a strong alternative for the Mexican champion's first bout of the year. While negotiations remain ongoing, the fight's legitimacy as a competitive contest has been questioned, given Crawford naturally competes at 154 pounds, 2 divisions below Canelo's. However, Crawford and his representatives, including manager Sheikh Al-Sheikh, have been actively trying to persuade Alvarez to agree to the fight, with Canelo reportedly seeking a $150 million payday. Considering the questionable competitive nature of a potential bout with Crawford and the ongoing evasion of Benavidez, Alvarez could explore alternative opponents for his first fight in 2025. The list of potential challengers includes Christian Billy, a 29-year-old French fighter boasting an undefeated 28-0 record. Billy's last notable victory came against Sergey Derevyanchenko in August, positioning him as a viable contender for the WBC super middleweight title. Terence Crawford last stepped into the ring in August, marking his 154-pound debut when he challenged WBA super welterweight champion Israel Madrimov. The fight was a grueling affair, with Crawford facing some of the toughest rounds of his career. Nevertheless, he secured a unanimous decision victory, cementing his status as a four-division world champion. Following his loss to Crawford, Madrimov is now preparing for his return to the ring next month, where he will challenge Virgil Ortiz Jr. for the WBC interim super welterweight title. Madrimov, reflecting on his experience with Crawford, shared his prediction for a potential Canelo-Crawford showdown in an interview with Boxing News. "I believe Canelo will win," he stated. "It's a completely different weight class. Canelo is too strong, and I think he will win by decision." Madrimov is not the only one making bold predictions about this fight. Former two-division world champion Tim Bradley weighed in, claiming that one of these fighters is going to dominate the other entirely. Meanwhile, undisputed heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk has taken a different stance. During an interview on the 3KR podcast, Usyk voiced his confidence in Terence Crawford, predicting that he has what it takes to overcome Canelo. "I believe Crawford wins," Usyk asserted. "Crawford is a unique fighter. He is a master of switching stances and is incredibly intelligent in the ring. His adaptability will give him a serious advantage." With the boxing world buzzing about this potential clash, the anticipation continues to grow. If the fight materializes, it could be one of the most significant matchups in modern boxing history. For now, fans and analysts alike will have to wait and see how negotiations unfold. Stay tuned for the latest updates, exclusive insights, and expert analysis on all major boxing events by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss out on top-tier boxing content. Until next time, stay engaged and keep the passion for the sport alive.